Discovering a new game or finding that next survival fix, there's nothing quite like it. In this top 10, we showcase 10 of the most unique and exciting upcoming survival games still to launch in 2024. We're covering everything. We're going to show you games you've never heard of, and we're going to remind you of arguably some of the most anticipated survival releases of the last 10 years. During the video, keep your eye out for this little guide. This means there's currently a demo or free access to the game shown that you can play right now. And remember, if any of these games pique your interest, hit that wishlist button. It's a great way to support the developers. It's totally free. You can find links to all the games and demos mentioned in this video in the pinned comment below. First up, we have Polyaris. Polyaris, I shouldn't have started with the game I couldn't pronounce. Developed and published by Magic Eye, due for release sometime towards the end of the year, this game deserves a look for its setting alone. Based in a harsh, frozen wasteland after a nuclear disaster, Polyaris is a single-player, first-person survival skiing game. You heard that bit right, skiing with the two sticks and the other two sticks skiing. While typically most of the major hitters in the survival genre focus on cooperative and competitive elements of online play, the more structured opportunities for narrative and game design supported by a single-player experience is a great way for other players to dive into this game. Players that may not typically like the survival grind and competitive nature of the games, this is the kind of thing for you. Players will be tasked with surviving the elements, gathering supplies, and fighting off fierce predators while attempting to unravel the mystery of a single question: why am I the last person alive? If you suffer with mycophobia, you probably want to look away for this one. Hey, no judgment from me, some mushrooms look terrifying. Aloft is an exciting entry into the survival space with its heavy focus on gliding and aerial traversal, which is quite important as much of the game takes place in the sky. And you won't simply be building bland old shacks and castle bases, oh no, you're building skyships. Described as a feel-good, cozy survival game that supports up to 8 players, Aloft boasts epic sky bases, a unique wind mechanic to power your manufacturing and production, insanely cute farm animals to care for and work with, and a living, breathing ecosystem that has been corrupted by angry-looking mushrooms. Lots of angry-looking mushrooms. Definitely one to watch out for when this launches sometime Q3 2024. Another entry for the single-player survival enthusiasts out there, Project Castaway, set for release in August of this year, seems to return to the roots of the survival genre, where man against the elements was the core focus. Project Castaway sees players attempting to survive, alone and stranded in the Pacific Ocean. Players are invited to explore a beautiful Pacific landscape, gathering resource and building rafts to travel from island to island. Be warned, however, as well as other castaways driven to madness, you're probably going to have to swim underwater. I've not enjoyed gaming underwater since Echo the Dolphin. God, I hated that game so much. Do not make any duck puns. Do not make any duck puns. I was going to script this bit, but it, I'll just wing it. Sorry for the foul language. If you feel like today's survival games are lacking attitude, let me introduce you to Duckside and explain what makes this upcoming survival game really unique. Well, as you can plainly see, you've probably figured it out by now, you're a duck. Taking inspiration from the likes of Rust and DayZ, players can work together to gather resources, construct grand bases, and build allegiances with other ducks. Think a gaggle of geese with AK-47s. It's a bizarre concept and one nobody really asked for, but reality is divided into 2 distinct events in time: before Goat Simulator and after Goat Simulator. With crispy combat, wacky flying, and the comical nature of being a bird with emotes, Duckside could just turn out to be a sleeper hit, who knows? It's interesting, keep your eye on this one. For these next couple games, we're stepping away from the typical survival formula and dipping our toes into the unforgiving nature of city and colony management survival games. Why? Well, it may be difficult as a lone survivor, braving the elements, gathering fiber, wood and stone over and over again, but what's really the worst that can happen? When in these games, entire civilizations can disappear because you make one bad choice. First up, we have Endzone 2, a post-apocalyptic survival colony builder that tasks players with rebuilding the last surviving pockets of humanity following a cataclysmic disaster. A gritty and unforgiving world awaits as players venture into treacherous badlands, explore habitable zones, build, manage and upgrade an entire colony. If you've yet to dive into one of these style of survival games, I cannot recommend them highly enough. They really remind me of the old school style strategy, just with a lot more brutality involved. Check this one out.
Good luck.
The original Frostpunk is largely responsible for the increasing interest and continued success of the survival colony genre, alongside greats like RimWorld, Northgard, and Oxygen not included. It's a game like few others. It's brutal, harsh, unforgiving, relentless. This game will test you right down to your moral fibers. Set 30 years after an apocalyptic blizzard ravaged the Earth, players will be tasked with surviving the greatest threat of them all, the dickhead nature of the human condition. You will make a decision, spend eternity questioning that decision, and then live with the consequences of your decision. The survivors will love you, some will hate you, some will want you dead, and you'll likely kill the rest. Best of all, not long to wait on this one, Frostpunk 2 is set to release next month, July 25th, and I cannot wait. Now let's get back to the more traditional survival games. If there's one game setting I will never get tired of, it's ancient Greece. Dawn of Defiance is a survival game that supports up to 4 players and offers the opportunity to construct grand Greek structures, craft and upgrade powerful gear, and take on the trial of the gods in a unique Greek myth-inspired game world. Stepping away from the traditionally heroic setting of ancient Greece, players will instead take the mantle of anti-hero on an odyssey to pass the 12 great trials and defy the will of the gods themselves. I think it was my love for Jason and the Argonauts back in the day that really ignited my passion for ancient Greece in video games, but holy hell, that film looks awful. I know it was the 60s, but damn. Anyway, any game that has you looking like a Spartan when you chop off the head of a Medusa is a definite win for me. If I had a checklist of all the things I want in a survival game, Crestfallen would check off most of that list. A gritty medieval setting, grueling melee combat, the opportunity to utilize a modular castle construction system, epic wars against other players. Crestfallen has every chance to be a huge success when it releases next month, July 1st, not long to wait for this one at all. Accompanying the perfect era of the medieval setting, a period in which it seems everyone just wants to kill everyone else, the game boasts a robust skill tree and a surprisingly heavy focus on non-combat and PvP features such as detailed crop and farm systems and an in-depth trading and economic mechanic. All of this and arguably the most iconic aspect of confrontation in the medieval era, siege battles. Players will be able to construct ballista, catapults, trebuchets, all to attack and destroy their foe's base. Nothing like days of work getting decimated because you teabagged the leader of the Alpha tribe 2 days earlier. Good times sure to be had by all. The only thing more terrifying than Arnold Schwarzenegger's CGI in Terminator Salvation is the thought of having to kill one of these things with the pitchfork. Terminator is one of those Hollywood franchises that is just begging for greater representation in the gaming industry. The original movie released in 1985 and is still considered a classic to this day. Movie to game adaptations has been a bit of a rocky journey over the years. Either the old school ones, you had some classics back in the day, and then a period where everything just sucked. Nowadays, we've seen a bit of a surge in quality with more time, money, and ultimately respect given to these IPs in which they are based. RoboCop Rogue City is one of the greatest movie-to-game journeys since the original Die Hard trilogy on PS1. Man, those were good times. Closer to home, we got Terminator Resistance launched to both critical and commercial acclaim in 2019. Based 4 years after Judgment Day, Terminator Survivors is an up to 4-player co-op game where you and your friends attempt to survive Skynet's attempt at wiping out the last remaining pockets of resistance. We've seen very little of the game so far, a single trailer and a collection of screenshots, but it looks to be exactly what you would think. Crafting, open world survival, base construction, all the hallmarks of the survival genre set in front of the epic backdrop of the Terminator franchise. I cannot wait for this one, it's got so much potential, let's hope they can deliver. Last but by no means definitely not least, Once Human. This is one of the most intense and atmospheric survival games I have ever played, featuring genre-leading construction and gathering mechanics, top-of-the-line combat and shooting, and a game world that is truly awe-inspiring. I have absolutely zero doubt this game is going to explode when it's released 9th of July 2024. This is not me throwing industry buzzwords down your throat like the fat kid in Matilda eating all that chocolate cake. I played an early access release a few months ago and the initial couple of hours absolutely blew me away. The world and lore is very supernaturally fueled, feeling almost akin to Stranger Things mixed with a bit of Remedy's Control. The enemies are equal parts intriguing and terrifying, with some so big you can't even see the full model on the screen. The communal elements of the game are also very different, very unique. This isn't all about shacks lining the beaches like regular survival games. Even in early access I discovered small hamlets and villages of players communicating and working together. Once Human has every chance to redefine expectations for this entire genre. If you've stuck with me for this long, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you. Thank you so much. YouTube doesn't like us doing non-guide videos, so they typically get buried. and watching to the end, leaving comments, putting a thumb up. It really helps us out. If you guys know of any games we missed, please do post a comment below. I'd love to explore some more games that have missed my radar, and don't forget to wishlist these if these interest you. It really helps developers out. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.